Coming up on ATV News.
We'll show you how the Cache County Sheriff's Office reacted to the loss of one of their own.
What you should do with your animals in a natural disaster.
Find out why there are decorated shirts around campus this month.
In weather, I'll tell you if the snow you woke up to today is staying up there or coming down to us. In sports, people are buzzing about Jordan Love all around the state. We'll tell you why he deserves it.
All that and more. This is ATV News. Welcome to ATV News. I'm Christy Ocken.
And I'm Bronson Tykert. Members of Cache County Sheriff's Office are mourning the loss of Lieutenant Brian Locke, who passed away after an off-highway vehicle accident. First responders found Lieutenant Locke deep within this canyon in Coldwater Ranch. He was riding a UTV in this area when it rolled over on top of him. Medics transported Locke to Logan Regional Hospital, where he died from extensive injuries. Here at the Sheriff's Office, Lieutenant Locke leaves big shoes to fill.
Brian leaves a huge hole that can never truly be replaced. He was just a kind, compassionate, huge man.
Funeral services are still pending for the lieutenant.
Two cars look pretty bad after crashing into each other on Friday. The driver of a blue Honda Accord says the Nissan Xterra rolled over her car while she was driving on 8th East near 14th North. People involved in the crash did not go to the hospital.
2018 has been the worst drought year in the last decade. Lack of rain this year combined with lack of snowpack from last winter has created a severe wildfire season. Over 100,000 acres have been burned so far this year. Although we can't control rain, there are steps we can take to eliminate the fuel source of the fires, like logging and livestock grazing.
Logging, other active land management practices. Certainly grazing can impact fuels and reduce fuels. So land management is a huge part of mitigating the risk for wildfires to become catastrophic.
Utah public officials are hoping for a snowy winter to prevent a severe fire season next year to keep you and your family safe.
Members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Cache Valley are excited about the announcement of 12 new temples around the world. ATV's Paige Zamora spoke with local church members who have connections to the new locations.
Today we are pleased to announce plans to construct 12 more temples.
Russell M. Nelson smiled as he announced the new locations.
Mendoza, Argentina, Salvador, Brazil, Yuba City, California, Phnom Penh, Cambodia, Praia, Cape Verde, Gigo, Guam, Puebla, Mexico, Auckland, New Zealand, Lagos, Nigeria, Davao, Philippines, San Juan, Puerto Rico, Washington County, Utah.
Here at the Logan Institute of Religion, students keep track of these temples with pictures of them on this wall. But with that number of temples reaching over 200, they're going to run out of space soon. Even though the 12 temples announced won't be in Cache Valley, people here at Utah State still have strong connections to those places.
They cannot even afford to feed their own families at times, and for them to save money to the temple is pretty incredible. But now that they will have one in Cape Verde is pretty amazing.
Exhilarating to hear that there'll be another temple in my homeland, and it's one more reason for me to go back and catch up with people and reunite at a temple. It's a great place to reunite with family and friends.
It shows that God hasn't forgotten our island and that He's going to help support them through everything.
I know that it's like that for every single one of those members, especially after the storm. I mean, everything that that little island has gone through, they're finally getting paid back for it, and the Lord is blessing them.
In addition to the 12 new locations, he also announced that plans are now being made to renovate the Salt Lake Temple and other Pioneer Generation temples. Paige Zamora, ATV News.
Those Pioneer Generation temples could include the Logan Temple right here in Cache Valley.
In other general conference news, church meetings will be shortened to 2 hours every Sunday, ending the 3-hour routine that's been in place since 1980. Apostle Quentin L. Cook announced the change during the Saturday morning session. It's part of an effort to encourage members to achieve a new balance between gospel instruction in the home and in the church. President Russell M. Nelson said there needs to be more focus on what goes on outside meeting houses like this one.
As a kid, I definitely felt it. I felt like a 3-hour church was something that I had to go along with. I just had to, many times bite the bullet and just sit there for 3 hours and listen to people and not really take a lot of initiative.
The new structure will consolidate children, youth, and adult-centered classes into the last 50 minutes of regular meetings. The changes will take effect January of next year.
According to No Kill Utah, 2,400 animals were killed last year in Utah shelters. But Ayana Likens, you visited a shelter that saves animals.
That's right, Christy. I'm here with Hondo, who was recently adopted from a no-kill shelter here in the valley. Hondo was adopted just about 2 weeks ago into his forever home. He was in the shelter for about 10 months, and if he would have been in a kill shelter, he probably would have been euthanized. But for Hondo and other animals in the shelter, they're given a different fate. These dogs are alive because of Cash Humane's no-kill policy.
As a coalition, we have defined that target as a 90% save rate.
Meaning that even though these cats are sick, the shelter says they will do whatever it takes to save these animals.
So we do have a fully staffed clinic here on site, staffed day to day by veterinary technicians.
Right now, each of these cages are full. But instead of euthanizing, the shelter will be taking the animals to one of the other no-kill shelters in Utah. The Cash Humane Society says they've saved over 90% of the animals that come into the shelter in hopes that kittens like these can find forever homes. These people are looking into adopting kittens, and the Humane Society encourages you to give these animals a second chance as well.
Good job!
Hondo found his forever home 2 weeks ago, and his owner says she's grateful for the no-kill shelter.
If he was at a kill shelter, he might not be here, which means that he wouldn't be part of our family. So I really just love the idea of making sure that animals are being given a second chance.
The Cash Humane Society says there are 82 cats and 43 dogs like Hondo waiting to be adopted.
Thanks, Ayana.
Imagine if something happened to your pets or livestock in a natural disaster. I spoke with one USU expert about steps you should take when tragedy hits home.
Pretty young horse. You're a good one.
Caring for animals like horses take a lot of work, but for emergencies, you need a plan.
Most of the time, the county has a plan in place, and they have a place such as the county fairgrounds where they will house the horses.
Most people only have 2 or 3 horses, making it easier to haul the animals to safety, but Heaps says microchips are a way to take extra precaution.
And the microchip is placed in the neck under the mane.
Wildfires are the natural disaster Heaps says you should worry about the most. Barns can be rebuilt, but animals are harder to replace. You might think a wildfire might not affect you, but one day, all this could turn into this. Fires have killed hundreds of cattle because owners did not have a plan. You should also consider floods and earthquakes. Smaller animals might seem easy to handle in an emergency, but they often get left behind.
There's no way you should leave anyone abandoned in any sort of crisis situation. That's just wrong. I mean, look at how cute these guys are.
While a plan should be in place for animals, Heaps says first responders will rescue people first.
Right now, it's Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Savvy and the Center for Women and Gender at USU are using t-shirts to spread the word. You can find decorated shirts pinned up in USU dining places. USU's Sexual Assault and Anti-Violence Services organized the Clothesline project to help start a conversation about domestic violence.
These are survivors in our community that have decorated these shirts with their experience on it. And the goal is to raise awareness that violence is happening.
Luke's Cafe, the Marketplace, are 2 of the dining spots you can find these shirts and domestic violence resources. More clotheslines will be popping up in the Junction, Beth's Cafe, and the Hub, and Savvy hopes they will empower individuals to seek help and reach out to the people around them.
When we come back, the best of USU's traditions are up for display this week. Some you know about and may participate in, and others I bet you've never heard about.
And ATV's Caitlin Reynolds-Baker will have your Cache Valley weather report.
The current temperature is 46 degrees.
Say with me, imagine what you'd see if every child had a book to read. 'Cause every kid across the nation deserves a book to read, and we can make it happen right now. No, I don't know what you've been told, but kids with books learn so much more. So the mission is for us to get a book to each and every child. So let's join hands, book people unite, unearth hidden passion. To motivate some magic, to change the writing on the wall, writing on the wall, and make a difference. One book can inspire a child. One book can be the first element that helps to change a life.
They said I couldn't dream. Called me a piece of trash and swore that's all I'd ever be. Said a bottle couldn't see the ocean. Give up. Go back to the dumpster. But I didn't listen. I made my way. And now, I am what I've always wanted to be.
If you still have your sprinklers watering your lawns, Utah officials are asking you to turn them off. This water is one of the most important resources we have in Cache Valley. The Utah Division of Water Resources says turning on water now to keep your lawn green is wasteful. If you are worried about keeping your lawn alive, varieties of grass are being tested at USU to last longer with less resources.
Almost everybody can relate to the things we do because they have a lawn or their kids are playing on a soccer field.
Johnson says Utah's arid climate is the perfect place to test popular varieties like Kentucky bluegrass. You can find more information about water use on our Facebook page.
When your stove, microwave, and mixer quit working, you might shut down the kitchen, but not at the Preston Senior Center. Community donations are helping the center replace its broken appliances and stay open.
A lot of the communities come together to help us out, and that helps a lot.
The center gives away food and provides meals to the elderly in the area, delivering 1,068 meals in August alone. And they also sell rolls, 1,000 dozen between Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Utah State University has many well-known traditions. The old and new ones are all on display for you at the library this week. In honor of Homecoming Week, the grand opening of the Where the Sagebrush Grows exhibit is in the library. The display is a history of USU homecoming traditions dating back to the early 1900s.
To just be able to engage with people's celebrations that they were having in the past and to kind of understand where our traditions come from now, it's been a really special experience for me.
Around 20 USU students, staff, and alumni helped out in creating the exhibit.
How do you learn about your family history? Last week, families gathered at Utah State's Anthropology Museum to teach children about their ancestry. These kids and their parents are crafting genealogy trees out of pipe cleaners. The Museum of Anthropology brings families together for their Family First activities.
The purpose of the Family First Saturdays is mostly to get the community engaged, to help them learn about different cultures, about themselves, about history, the museum itself, and about the world.
And through kinship charts and family trees, people can learn about the museum's ancestry theme during October. You can go to Family First Saturdays on the first Saturday of each month. Next month's theme is food and culture. We have Caitlin Rinlis-Baker joining us to tell us about this week's weather.
And Caitlin, it looks like your black eye is clearing up.
Yeah, so if you guys joined us last week, you may have heard that I was in an MMA fight. My opponent did give me a pretty good shiner, but it's finally clearing up. Kind of like our weather this week. Let me show you guys over here. So you may have woke up and noticed the white-capped mountains this morning. Well, I went up and got you a close-up of a fresh powder in Logan Canyon. But don't be getting too excited and pulling out your snowboards and skis quite yet. Because while it may be beautiful up there and it may get you itching to hit the slopes, it's probably not going to stick around quite yet. Let me show you on our 7-day forecast. So as you can see, today we did have a 60% chance of snow or rain. The current temperature is 46 degrees, and tonight we're looking at a low of about 33. Tomorrow, we're looking at a 20% chance of some rain showers with a high of 50 and a low of 29. Friday, we're looking for a sunny day, but a high of 52 and a low of 31, which, if you're heading out to the true Aggie night, you may want to take someone to cuddle up with because it's going to get just a little chilly there. As far as Saturday goes, there is a 20% chance of rain, but mainly you're looking at some sunny skies with a high of 56, which let me tell you is going to be a great weather for the football game, which starts at 2 o'clock. So if you're wanting to get out there, that's the day to do it. But just get ready because it is going to get a little chillier that night with 27 degrees as our low. For the rest of the week, you're looking Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday are all supposed to be pretty sunny. Sunday and Monday, you're looking at highs in the low 50s with lows in the 20s. Tuesday, high of 60 with a low of 32. Hurricane Michael struck and along the Florida Panhandle. According to the National Hurricane Center, Hurricane Michael does have life-threatening winds and flash flooding. So if you are in that area or know anyone in that area, there is some danger coming, but just be prepared for it. And, you know, everything should be clearing up, hopefully in the next couple of days, but you do need to be prepared for that. Again, in the Florida Panhandle, and then also along the southern edges of Alabama and Georgia. But besides that, everything our way is looking pretty clear. So you guys, what are you thinking about all of these hurricanes we're getting this season? I believe this is the third one we've had.
I tell you what, I'd rather deal with this colder weather than have to deal with hurricanes.
Yeah. Same here.
Same.
But in lighter news, Utah State had a great weekend at Provo, Cassandra.
They sure did. We beat those Cougars. Coming up, all the details from USU's matchup against BYU last Friday.
Bridging art and politics, see how USU students are sharing debatable topics.
Thanks for calling the GED Pep Talk Center. Jerry Siller speaking. Your level 7 in-your-face pep talk.
I can keep pushing you. Believe me, I'm good at it. But at some point, you're going to need to start pushing yourself.
See, once you've got your GED diploma, you'll feel so good about yourself.
You tell them. You can't change your past, but you can definitely change your future.
That makes me so happy, I'm ready to bust out a dance.
Mr. Trejo, can I transfer this guy to you? My gentle technique isn't really working. You need something a little more
persuasive.
Yes.
You listen, and you listen good.
Hey, where's my sandwich? Terry? Terry!
Take it from me, the King DMC. It's a real cool thing to get your GED.
Get that diploma!
Now hold on and we'll find you free GED classes. Capiche?
Whatever motivation you need, we've got a pep talk for you. Get your GED pep talk and find free classes at yourged.org.
Listen now, can you hear the bluebirds? Oh, look up now, can you feel the sun? Can you feel the sun?
Welcome back. I'm Cassandra Solarte, and I'm happy to be here at USU instead of in Provo, where our football team had to be this weekend. In the battle for the wagon wheel against BYU, Utah State attempted to do something they haven't done in 44 years. The first quarter, BYU quarterback Tanner Mangum is intercepted by Tipa Naleye. He cuts across the field, no one is in front of him, and no one will catch him. It's a 56-yard pick six for the Aggies. Second quarter, USU quarterback Jordan Love completes the pass to Ronquavion Tarver for the touchdown. Aggies are up on BYU 21-0. Fourth quarter, Mountain West Conference Player of the Week Jordan Love with the keeper. It's a 2-yard touchdown. Aggies all over BYU. They go on to win 45-20. The Aggies will keep the wagon wheel another year.
They said it hasn't been back there back-to-back years in like 40-something years. So, I mean, it feels great to have back-to-back wins and just keep it in Cache Valley.
With the victory on Friday, Utah State caps off their first back-to-back wins over BYU in 44 years. Utah State will be back at Maverick Stadium on Saturday for their homecoming game against UNLV. The away game didn't stop Aggies from showing their game day spirit. USU fans that couldn't make it to the game went to the watch party behind Cache Valley Bank. Fans brought their own chairs and blankets while food trucks supplied the snacks. Local bands performed and young fans played games to get the party started.
It's a pretty fun atmosphere and super fun to watch USU play BYU.
The game was projected on the side of the building for the crowd to watch. The excitement of the crowd almost made it feel like a home game. With that win over BYU, sophomore quarterback Jordan Love has every reason to celebrate. Love's 18 of 28 night against BYU for 165 yards has earned him praise from college football fans around Utah. Many of them claim he is the best quarterback in the state. His sophomore season, Love has thrown 109 straight passes without a single interception. But for Love, the talk around the state is not his priority.
I mean, I really don't care about that, about being the best quarterback in the state. I care about being the best quarterback at Utah State. So, I mean, that's really all I care about.
Paige Zamora is here with us to talk about Love's success this season. So are these fans just excited to see BYU lose? How does he really compare to other quarterbacks in the state?
You know, Cassandra, that's a great question because normally he's compared to a Pac-12 caliber quarterback at the U. But with Tyler Huntley only making one touchdown pass in the past 4 games, and with Tanner Mangum at BYU only throwing 5 this year, Jordan Love's 9 touchdowns look really great in comparison.
Wow, that's great to hear. And you were at the game, correct? How did he feel about the outcome?
He was really excited about it. Like you heard, he was really excited to bring the wagon wheel back to Logan. He also said that, he's really excited to be able to have all these teammates around him and be performing as well as he has. And the talk around the state just isn't his priority. He wants to be the best for us at Utah State.
So this isn't Love's first year on the team. How is he different from last season?
Well, last season with him being a freshman and with Kent Myers still being here, it was a different story. He didn't get as much playing time. But now that he's playing and that he's our #1 quarterback, he really is just stepping up. He looks like much more than a sophomore quarterback. It's interesting to watch.
So obviously he brought his A game on Friday. What else did you see on the field that stood out to you?
Well, I think another thing that he really has going for him is his offensive line. They really keep him clean back there in the pocket, and he's really able to get all the tempo passes off that he needs to, and that's the way he likes to play anyway, so it's awesome to watch him play, and of course all those guys got his back on the O-line.
Well, I'm excited to see him play this weekend. Thanks for joining us, Paige.
Yeah, anytime.
Our football team might have won down in Provo, but our cross country wasn't so lucky against the Cougars. The USU cross country team is less than a week away from pre-nationals, which will be held in Wisconsin. Here's what happened in their most recent meet. Teams from colleges across Utah and Idaho get their race started. These BYU men took first in the meet, while USU took second. Shannon Maloney barely beat out Sadie Sargent as the Aggie women took second place. These runners couldn't outrun the Cougars. BYU takes first. Thanks for joining us on this edition of ATV Sports. Back to you guys at the desk.
You can feel the school spirit in the air. This week, with the homecoming game coming up, the Herd has events for students to enjoy all week long. It's homecoming week, and the Herd wants you to show your Aggie pride and get involved. They set up a booth in the TSC to inform students about all of the upcoming events and the theme for homecoming week, which is the Spirit of the Scotsman.
We're the Spirit of the Scotsman. We got a lot of Aggie pride, a lot of Aggie spirit, and this year especially has been amazing, and so I'm excited for the rest of this week.
The Herd is encouraging students to attend the homecoming game. If 6,000 students show up to this weekend's game, $6,000 will be donated to the Herd to give out to students. If you're as excited as the Herd is for homecoming, check out our Facebook page for the event schedule.
The streets are painted blue in Logan as a way to kick off homecoming week. Students paint the street to show their Aggie pride for USU's homecoming week. Many university organizations put their brushes to work and enjoy the camaraderie of the competition. USU Arts Senator Sierra Wise judged the paintings to see which organization would take home the prize. The Institute of Student Government won a first-place trophy as well as an Aggie ice cream party for their organization.
Have you seen an art exhibit where you can register to vote? The 50 States Initiative has that and more. 2 USU students taped sheets of paper to this wall with debatable topics as prompts for other students to share their opinions. This nonpartisan exhibit has created to prepare for the midterm elections.
People are actually even responding to others, whether it's agree or disagree, and I mean it ranges from like being, I guess you would say, polite or even vulgarity, because that's the point of it, is to just the freedom of speech.
The 50 States exhibit will be open until November 6th in the Trippett's and Eccles galleries. The exhibit is sponsored by USU Kane College of the Arts and the Nationwide Platform for Freedoms.
Thanks for joining us on this edition of ATV News.
You can find all of our shows on our Facebook page.
Have a great week, Aggies. We'll leave you with a shot of the Salt Lake Valley at sunset.
Body language. without saying a word, it can tell you so much. Like someone is having a stroke. Know the sudden signs. Learn fast. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty.